Hello dear students, let's find out simplification of CFG, the first step to remove epsilon productions. Now in this video, we will see how a CFG can be simplified by removing any production which is of the form epsilon production. Now have a look at example 1, the grammar given. Now this grammar has epsilon productions. To make you understand, I am just rewriting this CFG. The same thing I am writing just to elaborate what the CFG is in detail. This is the first production as you see. The second production is S gives BBA. This is the second production. The third production is, oh, I'm so sorry. Here, this is A derives. I'm so sorry. Just excuse me for overwriting. And then A derives epsilon. Just check this. A derives epsilon. This is the third production. Then we have B derives two small c's followed by B. This is the fourth production, and the fifth one is B derives epsilon, the fifth production. Now observe, I've just elaborated, okay, the given grammar. Now just observe that there are two productions in which the right hand side is epsilon. The right hand side derived is null string. The production number 3 and 5 are such productions. Now I will introduce one term called nullable. Just check the term, nullable non-terminal. You say a non-terminal such as X, capital X, is nullable. Some non-terminal X is nullable if X derives epsilon. Just check any non-terminal that derives epsilon is nullable. We say it's nullable non-terminal. So given a grammar, this is the grammar given. What is the first job at hand is you will have to find out which non-terminals in this grammar are nullable. Now two non-terminals are nullable in this, A and B, because A derives epsilon, B derives epsilon. So in the given CFG, in this CFG, A comma B, these two non-terminals are nullable, non-terminals. So what do you do with nullable non-terminals now? Oh, before we go ahead, we have found nullable non-terminals, but is S nullable? See, S is also non-terminal. We know that A is nullable, we know that B is nullable. Is S nullable? Now S cannot be nullable because S derives at least a small a followed by capital B, followed by capital A, capital B, and followed by small d. So in any case, S cannot derive epsilon on the right hand side. I hope you are understanding. So A and B are nullable. Now what do you do with this nullable non-terminals? The rule is, while simplifying, the rule is check the right hand side of all the productions. Just check the right hand side of all the productions, and wherever on the right hand side the nullable non-terminals appear, wherever on the right hand side, check my words, then you rewrite those productions in such a way that you write that production once with that nullable non-terminal and again once without that nullable non-terminal. What am I talking about? Let's see. I will now rewrite this set of productions as follows. Just check. The right hand side is A, capital B, then small d. Now what do you do with this production? Pay attention very well. See, this right hand side I am rewriting like this. The right hand side will become, first thing is, I will write the same production as it is, A, B, D. That means I have written both the nullable non-terminals. Check this. Check the given production has been written exactly as it is. Then I'll put OR. So I will introduce one more production, OR. Now I will write the same production without A because A is nullable. So I can remove that. So what will this become is A, B, D. Check. I have removed A and I have written the same production, OR. One more production I am putting. I will now remove B because B is also nullable. Notice A and B both are nullable. So I am removing B also. So what I will say is I will now keep A, but I'll remove B. So first I have removed A, in this I have removed A, in this I have removed B. Now the next thing is I'll remove both because both are nullable. So I will get production AD. By the way, what you understand is on the right hand side, when you have some nullable non-terminal, then you write that production with the nullable non-terminal and without nullable non-terminal. Now, if you have two nullable non-terminals like AB, just check AB, then you will have to check both the combinations. First remove only A, just as in this case, then remove only B, and then remove both. And of course, you have to write one more production which was original production. Then this single production in the given grammar, this single production has produced four productions. You can see this is the revised production. Okay, let's come to the second production, BBA, this one. Okay, do you have a nullable non-terminal on the right hand side? Yes. Just check the production. Check the production carefully. It is A derives BBA, this one. You have that, isn't it? So because A is nullable, so you write BBA. That means you write A, and then again you write the same production without A because A is nullable. So whenever you have a nullable non-terminal on the RHS on the right hand side, you write the right hand side with the nullable non-terminal and again without nullable non-terminal. So this production, check, A derives BBA, this production has changed into two different productions. Now have a look at third production, A derives epsilon. You can simply kill this now. Yes, you can now remove it because whatever adjustments we did in the first two productions give us liberty of removing it. You will know what I'm talking about, don't worry. But now you can remove this epsilon production, and that was our aim. We don't want the epsilon productions. Now let's look at the fourth production, B derives CCB. What this production is? Does this have any nullable non-terminal on the RHS? Yes. B is nullable. You can just check. B is nullable and it is there on the RHS. So what will you do? You will write the production as it is first with the nullable non-terminal and then again without nullable non-terminal. So this production B derives CCB breaks up into two different productions. Now let's see the next production B derives epsilon. Now you can kill this, destroy this, and you can say that this production which was null production or epsilon production can be now removed. The grammar that we are left out with is known as simplified grammar. Just check, the simplified grammar has S derives A, B, D, A, B, D, A, D, and AD. Then A derives B, B, A, or B, B. Then B derives C, C, B, or C, C. That's it. And it does not contain epsilon productions. You might be wondering, how is this right hand side grammar simplified? In fact, this grammar written on the left hand side looks more concise and more smaller. Yeah, that's the first doubt that student has in his or her mind. That sir is saying that this grammar, new grammar, is simplified. Oh no way, it doesn't look like simplified, isn't it? You will say. It's such a big grammar. Give me some time to prove it. Okay, let's try to prove why that grammar is called simplified. Okay. By the way, this was the original grammar we had, A, B, D, and then A derives, I think it was B, B, A derives epsilon, correct? Then B derives C, C, B, and B derives epsilon, and then that's it. That was the original grammar. And what is the simplified grammar that we got? The simplified grammar we got was S derives A, B, D. Listen, A and B are nullable. So we write this once with both A, B as they are. Then we write once without A, then once without B. See, we have removed B now. So what is left out is AAD, correct? Once without both. Now, the other production is A derives BBA, but notice A is nullable, so we write it simply as BB. So we have written A once and we have not written A. Then A derives epsilon was removed. Then B derives CCB. B is nullable, so we can write it once and we just remove it once. And then B derives epsilon was removed. Now, why is this known as simplified grammar? This is simplified CFG. Here is the explanation. Just see, the smallest string that can be derived from this original grammar G is AB. Smallest string. Let's try to derive. I will derive the string AB from the original string. We start with S derives. The S is the start symbol, of course, so we should start from there. S derives AAB AABD. First production I have used. Now I want AB, you note. I want AB and I already got this AD. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The smallest string is AD, not AB. So I already got AD and I want nothing from here. But then you can see that A derives epsilon can be used. So I'll use A derives epsilon, then BD. Epsilon means nothing. And then in the next step, I will use this B derives epsilon. So B derives epsilon, but epsilon means nothing. So the string I have got is AD. But how many steps were required to derive? Check my words. How many steps were required to derive this string? 3 steps. First, we use start symbol, then A derives epsilon, then B derives epsilon. Now using this was using original grammar G. Now using the new grammar G dash. How do you derive AD? AD. Just try to derive this string, the smallest string, and you will be surprised to know that it will be a single step because S directly derives AD. You just check this. S derives AD, matter ends, and we have derived the string. So the number of steps needed to derive the string are much less than the number of steps required to derive the same string using original grammar. You can say that the program which will just be implemented for deriving the string using original grammar will need more steps, whereas program which is written to implement the new grammar will require less steps. By simplification, we mean simplicity of deriving a string. We don't mean by appearance. You might feel that this grammar is so huge. How is this simplified? It is simplified because the number of steps needed to derive a string are much less. You can take any such string. For rather, let's take an example. What other string can it derive? It can derive, this original grammar can derive A, B, B, D. Just check. It can derive A, B, B, D. Okay, how come? S derives, the first step, S derives A, B, D, correct? Then you see, we already got A and D, the first and the last letter. Now we want two B's. Now this A over here, due to this grammar, this production, can give us A, then two B's, then A. Note I have replaced this capital A with BBA. And then capital B remains and then D remains. Now in the next step, what you would do is, you got your string, you see, A double B D, you got your string. Now you will replace this capital A with epsilon because you want to end it, and this capital B also with epsilon. So you will say A, B, B, epsilon, capital B, and then D, and also, so this epsilon is nullable, and then finally A, B, B, epsilon D, D is replaced with epsilon. This is nullable. So you got A double B D. But how many steps were needed? 1, 2, 3 here, and 4 steps were needed. Check, 4 steps were needed to derive A double B D. Can we improve it by using the simplified grammar? Give me some time just to make up some space here. Now, using the simplified grammar, how will you derive A double B D? Use your first start symbol S. And notice, instead of using A, B, B, D, okay, instead of using this, what you will do is you will use this A single A, capital A, and then D. Because the string doesn't require any C, so you did not opt for any production which had capital B. Now you already got A and D. Now what about A? A should somehow give us these two B's. And notice here, A directly gives two B's. Just check. A can be replaced with two B's followed by D, and you got your string. So you got the string just in 2 steps. That is what is simplification. And first type of simplification that we have learned is how to remove epsilon productions. While removing epsilon productions, we deal with nullable non-terminals. So we will see more examples on this in the coming videos. Thank you very much.